The impetus behind this work was the fact that this client was executing a lot of different initiatives that were going to require a totally different way of showing up at work for all of its employees. Perhaps the most important of these was the fact that they were revamping their performance management process, something they hadn't done in about 30 years. It was the first time the company was evaluating its effectiveness and redesigning process and technology in 30 years. And at the core of this redesign was a shift from numerical force ranking into a qualitative feedback-based system. We knew that the company was going to need to build a feedback-rich culture, ground the employee base and get them to adopt a growth mindset, build trust, and then, only then, could you create that feedback-rich culture. The organization came to us and said, we realized that the most critical leaders in our company, the supervisors and managers, which represented about 20% of the total population, aren't prepared to make this shift. And they haven't had any learning maybe 6 to 9 years. So what do we do? How can we equip our people who are going to be critical in the execution of these initiatives to be able to lead their teams and lead themselves? The learning, the whole premise behind this architecture wasn't just about obtaining new knowledge, but truly about taking new action. To approach that work, we knew we had to disrupt existing mindsets and get people out of the way they were thinking. We needed to move more towards learning in the flow of work, a continuous learning environment, and that it wasn't just going to be capabilities and behaviors, but truly shifts in mindset. And then we had to create experiences and experiments where people could go live those new mindsets. And the best part about it was because of the continuous learning environment and this community of learning that we built, it naturally built a reinforcement mechanism. So everything that people were trying and learning was reinforced by their social networks across the enterprise. We knew how important it was going to be for us to demonstrate flexibility and be agnostic and truly bring them the best of what they needed to execute this shift. And BTS was willing to partner with other organizations, with the enterprise, to deliver what the client needed when they needed it in the moment of work. When we were thinking about how to truly make this something adopted and useful for the participant, we made it a point to create a digital platform that would guide the learning, reward engagement, and inspire achievement by enabling participants to filter what they needed, whether they had 3 hours or 3 minutes, by topic, and they could revisit that as many times as they needed. Also, that content was supported by experiments and things that they could go and try in the field before they actually had to take it live. They also had access to coaching where they could role play and get feedback on what it was they were about to go execute in the real world. For our client, real-time data on how and when people were accessing the content and which modules and resources they found the most useful. So over time, what this meant was that we could go in and adjust the content offering to create this return on investment for the participant and the client by making sure they had the most relevant content at all times. They were building their own network and really getting to be very vulnerable and having these shared experiences with people across the enterprise. We made sure to leverage an Agile methodology that had multiple sprints that could garner different stakeholder feedback and input from day one. We knew we had the momentum across the enterprise for full adoption. We didn't want to push anything. The Learning and Talent organization didn't want to push anything. We wanted to create a movement across the enterprise that pulled all of this learning naturally, organically, because it met the need of the learners from a talent perspective and from a business perspective. What we wanted to do was make sure that we had mapped all the content and keyed it to every type of modality possible for deployment, so that as the business evolved, we could sub in different modules, different experiences, different assessments, so that the paths could evolve with the business. So therefore, even 3 years from now, we might still have the same path construct, but the content and the experiences populating those paths might look very different depending on where the business is 3 years from now.